Hello, and welcome to Building Influence. My name is Rowena Moraes. We have another episode of Season 1, which is a deep dive into education. It's a collection of 10 stimulating interviews with creators, leaders, and SME entrepreneurs from around the world who have achieved considerable success in their area of expertise. Now, these interviews bring together the best strategies, tools, and tips that they have found to be most effective in building influence and achieving the goals that drive them. This show is for anyone who's busy crafting and creating to realize their vision. It is designed for people who are striving to come up with products, services, and teams. We never stop learning. We learn by doing and experimenting and risk taking, and we learn from the missteps and failures of others. So, this is the place for you to discover new ideas that will keep you motivated and strengthened by what you're working to achieve. Building influence is unique in that it looks primarily at how individuals, as creators and leaders and business owners, have had a significant impact by what they did and how they went about doing it. And the show examines three aspects of influence: their profile, their network, and their body of work. And the focus on the small to mid-sized business segment reminds us that anyone can transform their dreams into reality. We don't offer any silver bullets, but the lessons drawn from the experience of these guests can help you avoid years of wasted effort and frustration. And the bite sized learning enables us to start implementing these ideas immediately. My guest today is Dato Sri Ganesh. He is the elected Vice President of the International Vocational Education and Training Association, IVETA, overseeing the South Asia region. He's a pioneer in the TVET, or Technical and Vocational Education and Training space, and he built the SG Education Group in 1999, which consists of 5 premier skills training institutes, which are both locally and internationally accredited. So good to have you with us today, Dato. Thank you for agreeing to come on the show.
Pleasure is mine, Ravina. Thanks for having me here.
Great. So let's dive straight in. We're going to start with having a look at your profile. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about your career journey, how much of it was deliberate, how much of it involved moving with the flow, and are you currently where you intended to be?
Um, Thanks again, Ravina. You see, I started in 1999, where apparently I'm a strong advocate of TVET. Then TVET is something very new in Malaysia, whereby they normally associate TVET with vocational studies and so on, whereby they look into like courses like bricklaying and maybe plumbing and so on. But there are more towards it. I think Malaysia, when it comes to TVET, they are actually scoring right now. But at where I started, it was merely looked at very low kind of articulation towards education and so on, right? So where I started is I started off when there was a requirement in the college that I was studying, whereby if you take it to software engineering, right? Most of them they understand the concept of software engineering and so on, but when it comes to the actual programming, right, I mean, to come to actual solving a problem, they require to select various programming languages to solve the problem. But you need to be competent in that programming language for you to actually code something. This is where I found the niche, where I start tutoring in my college itself, some of my friends and so on to
You
prepare.
yourself?
Yeah, I myself as a student, I do
Okay.
help my friends, those who are in the same line of studies, right? Then when I start doing it, it became more like I was passionate towards solving their college projects and so on, right? So I was about to finish my college education. I realized that many companies out there, they don't have potential skilled personnel to drive the company objective and so on. So I start studying the gap. One of my first business venture was in Rawang, right? If you take into Rawang is an industrial area whereby you have the famous Perodua and so on. But surrounding these companies, you have those supporting this industry, like those who the industry who does their car panels, their engines, and so on. So this group of people from this company came to me, and then they say that they require these skills, and they are sending these workers of theirs to Taiwan to acquire a particular skill. It cost them about 40 grand each to send them to Taiwan to get this to be competent in this skill. So I counter propose them, and I say that you can save a lot of money by me upskilling them by going into this particular program that they need, right? Then I realized I just jumped into a big project and without knowing the depth of it. So I took about a week to really go into this software programming. It's more like on computer-aided design, so I have to learn the basics as well as the industry needs. But you see, the foundation was quite strong, whereby I understand the skill needed for the industry. So it only took me a few practices, me and my other trainers, and we managed to cut down their costs by 70%. So basically, they were sending instead of sending their skilled people abroad, they start sending it to me, and this is where my journey starts. So I start reskilling people and so on. But then I realized that competencies exist, but it also requires people skills, right? You cannot go in to an industry and say that you found the gap and you want to upskill them with certain skill competencies. You need to understand their driving factor and objectives as well. So as time goes on and I start mastering the industry needs and how to make people work for the company for a specific skill, what is the motivation behind this and all that. So the experience actually mounted up, and I got the gear up and running, and this is where I am. And today, in short, I would say that when there's a technology in Malaysia, I will ensure that there's a talent to develop the technology as well. My personal opinion is that we should not be the consumers of technology. We should be the developers. We should be built on technologies. That gives us more value across the region, and we should create borderless employment. Otherwise, if you notice that back in 96, 97, where the IT era, everybody start talking about the IT technology park and all that in Malaysia, where everybody wants to go into IT. But the thing is, we were merely a hub. We were actually importing foreign personnel to this country and start doing the IT program itself, whereby we should be upskilling our talent towards achieving that purpose. So we had the best infrastructure, we had the best driving factor, we had the best government support and all that, but maybe we are not there in building the talents. Until now, if you notice that we are still working on building talents of the graduates. If I may add,
Yes.
for a graduate, approximately we are spending about 40 to 50,000 ringgit to upskill them. My thoughts are these programs, this upskilling program should be embedded in the university itself, so we can cut down the cost and we can create more value-added jobs out there, right? So I'm still advocating for that, and TVET has become my important instrument for me to bring forward my thoughts in creating the highly priced workforce for our nation, right? Of course, my engagement throughout across the globe with many other countries, the underdeveloped countries, developed countries, has given me the opportunity to learn and to implement better strategies here in Malaysia.
Okay. So if someone's coming across this interview now for the first time, what would you want them to know about you from a professional standpoint?
Okay, I want them to understand that if you are from industry and if you want to embark in this business, right, training business and so on, but in both, if you're an industry who needs skilled workers, you need to understand that you need to be certain on your objectives. What is your driving factor? What is your clear vision of the company, right? It shouldn't be always cutting down the cost or things like that. You need to build upon the pain points, right? That means if you're going into a business, you need to understand the pain points of the industry that you want to address. All right, then you'll remain relevant. Then it's quite exciting for you to build on it. Right, you cannot go into a business simply because there are other things that there are opportunities, and there's a lot of vast money involved in the industry. So you should understand the problem statements before even a startup or any other companies to diversify into business itself. So I would say that understanding the right skill competency, understanding the clear objectives of the company is vital for you to achieve in business. Yeah.
And this is part of what you do as well with the
Yeah. What
academy.
I do is, you see, it is imminent that going into TVET will equip with the practical skills that will transform you into skilled workers ready for the real world. You must understand that increasingly it has become more apparent that academic qualification are not the all end of career paths, as seen
Correct.
with oversupply of fresh graduate in Malaysia. So this is not an alternative. I would like to differ that. It's not an alternative, but it's the educational process that involving study of technologies and related to science
Okay.
when you want to go into the TVET part, right? So this is what I'm again advocating, and I want people to see this as an opportunity as well. Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about your professional skills, your expertise. Can you share one tactic that you have used to help you create more visibility for yourself?
Um, I think the most prominent one will be digital relationships.
Okay.
Right? Okay. I find that this avenue is digital avenue. The channel itself, it's not easier. It is more conducive for us to reach our network, right? So uh, digital relationship includes physical and virtual, both hybrid, and it shouldn't be solely focusing on sales.
Yes.
For instance, I'll give you a simple understanding of how do I practice my competencies or my skills. It is not something that a formula that I want to practice. I'm living with it, you know. So I'm not saying that this is a formula, but you need to come to it, you know, when you have a clear vision. I call this a jab hook strategy, you know.
Okay.
Okay, what is a jab hook strategy is, if your story is genuine, that means this is your jab, right? Human and engaging, and people like it. And if it's possible to use social media marketing to form value-based relationship that will grow your business. If you are using a social medium to broadcast and hitting people with on the head with sales, then it's kind of irritating and irrelevant. Let me tell you few how some of the practices that you shouldn't be doing it. A big no. For instance, uh, people messaging with these phrases like, just checking if your water filter at home. I wanted to love to introduce our company organization. What if I say you will double your income in 3 months? I'm sure that you get all these kind of messages through your message box, right? Uh, I would say build relationship first, right? Not the business part of it. All right.
And
This
that's
is the
clearly what
journey.
you are doing as well.
I build
When you,
relationship, and it's a genuine relationship I like to build. I'm excited. I have no expectation, but I build relationship. In other words, you need to give, and some more before asking from anything on social. You need to give them. You see, knowledge is not to be put a value to it. You know, knowledge comes when you share, right? You can build on knowledge, and when you do ask after investing in your relationship, I feel that in my experience, people will be happy to give back.
yeah.
Don't feel it, right? It's because the value you've created along the way. For instance, if you're marketing a food outlet, right? You're in the food industry. Your post picture about your dish, the best dish that you can prepare for somebody, without any expectation. The picture itself should be self-explanatory. That means you should be your original picture. You shouldn't be some pictures that you got it
Stock
from the
image.
internet or whatever, right? This is the first step. That means you post in the social media of the things that you can create. Why? I believe that everything is created twice. One in your mind, and the rest of it is your output itself. So if you give the best output possible based on your thoughts, then that's the first step. All right. And then maybe your second photo could be a combined shorter copy in headlines and leads. That means what are you actually doing? Your curiosity. That means you're creating a kind of curiosity, like what actually you're preparing for the people out there to know, right? That will be a second step. That means you have a story for your product, right?
Okay.
And then a little info on health, like not only centric to your product, but in general, what you should take in moderate and so on, this kind of things, like value added things where you can get these ingredients, and you should be very genuine, not um, being selfish in probably trying not to reveal where you bought these ingredients and so on. All these are it should be shown honestly out there, right?
Yeah.
Then your last jab would be a location on your food outlet, like throw in a food tasting kind of party for those who have been following you and all that. This is where you build your network, and you shouldn't refrain someone or limit someone from coming to your outlet by saying that probably this guy is not going to be my future customer, right? But if you allow everybody to access the digital relationship that you have created, word of mouth will be a good way of you accelerating your business as well. This is what I'm looking at. But different businesses have different way to jab. This is not strategy. You have to believe in this, right? Then it will be your nature. All you need to do is to create value to the prospect out there, and once a value is created, business will roll in.
How about the
Right.
hook?
All right. The hook is where you deliver. When you understand somebody's pain point. You see, when you write a story, when you start talking about your journey and someone will like to share their experience as well. This is where you get their problem statement in mind. And if you think that you can solve their problem, and that's the hook, and you have to match specifically to what they require,
Personalize it. Okay.
personalized and
Yeah.
all that. This is where how do I put a hook, but without realizing, I've created a good network, good people around me, and I'm still giving to many out there who requires my knowledge and my expertise. This is one of the way of getting to a good network and get things moving. Yeah.
So, what has, in terms of your digital presence, your profile, your digital profile, what has been key for you to building that well? Creating a strong profile.
You see, a profile itself, it's a portrait of yours, right? So in your profile, you have to accept your weaknesses as well, and also multiply your strength. You cannot be jack of all trades in your profile. You cannot say that I do this, I do that, and all that. Then people will not come to you simply because you're not focused,
Yeah.
right? And people, I'm sorry to say this, people are not interested in your academic qualification per se, and so on. Your profile should be what you do best, at as yourself. What you do best, what can you deliver, and how you made a difference in people's lives, right? And these differences are not necessarily something to do with business. Your CSR thing that you used to do, the way you write and all that, you have to multiply your strength, and you have to put it there with accepting your differences as well, and you have to be very focused. So when I display my profile, I always have a collaborative element there. That means I can do this, but the rest of the work can be done by so and so. So I do networking there itself to show people that I bring a group of people to
Together.
you together, And I am good at what I do, but there are many others as well that we can collaborate. So this
Okay.
area open up more avenue for you to build relationship, and for you to portray, for you to not portray, for you to have a genuine profile across to people. Yeah.
Okay. Can you share maybe two or three things that you do to market yourself?
All right. I make sure that I choose the right platform, right?
Okay.
For instance, comparatively, if you look into LinkedIn and Facebook, I like to be more present in LinkedIn, right?
Of
So you
course.
have to choose the right. It's a professional network, and I make sure that I write or put in my thoughts based on the current happenings, right? Avoid politics, but take a stand on what is your opinion, and accept differences in all the opinions that you're giving in terms of businesses and so on. And importantly, when you uh, give your comment and post something, it has to be uh, something which has sustainable kind of comments. That means it has to have a substance, right? You have to give them a path on why you're saying this is not right or why it's right, and what is your solutions for it, all right? And how do you taking responsibility in your comment and posting that you actually put across in the social media itself, right? So plus I put a lot of my pictures and videos, and those to say that I'm real. I just don't write something and all that. And you can have a ghost writer, right? So you have to substantiate. You can okay to have a ghost writer, but you need to have you need to substantiate towards the writer's profile as well. And it's good that you have more videos and pictures of yours, um, putting across the idea that you like to project to people. These are some of the things that I do regularly. And I don't spam people's email or their mailbox. I don't do that by simply sending them messages and so on. My messages are very personalized to people and based on what they think, and my thoughts are. I always like to collaborate with them. So these are some of the techniques that we use to build network from
Okay.
my point of view. Yeah.
Excellent. So you've shared with us quite a few things about how you've developed your profile. So what I'd like to do now is just kind of go into your network and talk about how you've built this up. So what are two or three aspects of networking that you feel are really important? Consider that the audience maybe consist of people who are new to networking as well. So what kind of advice could you give them about the important facets of networking?
Okay. In networking, you need to first understand that you cannot, as I mentioned earlier, you cannot be jack of all trades. You need to be very focused and take a platform that which you like to contribute. All right. You have a lot of digital seminars, and even before COVID, we had these face-to-face seminars, and we have summits and all that. Volunteer to speak in this summit and seminars without having to hard sell any of your business products there. Give your thoughts. This is where people find you resourceful. People find you good to be networked with. So you build your profile then, and also learn to be a person to listen to others. All right. You cannot lead a crowd without being a listener. All right. So you have to be a participant first. If your friend is speaking in a forum, so good to support your friend's forum by being a participant. All right. And likewise, when you have to, I think saying positive things is always good. This is a general thing, right? So when somebody does something good which has nothing to do with your line of work, you can always free to comment and encourage them, right? And also to tag your other friends when you find them achieving something, when your particular person that you want to network with is achieving something. So this will open up more rooms. And don't forget to, sometimes I due to time constraint, I'm trying to keep up to this. Please reply to all the comments and posts that people, I mean, if they were to tag you, this show appreciation is important. From there we build network. So these are some of the strategies as well that I feel that will be very useful for us to put forward out there if you are new to networking, right? See, everything got to start somewhere, right? So maybe
Yes.
you have like 4 or 5 friends in your network and so on. From there, you need to discipline yourself, and not, of course, to be a social media hog by sitting there and trying to comment for everything and try to like every single thing. Choose your platform, choose your network, professional network. If you're in an education sector, then I think you can cut across many other verticals as well. But if you're in the food industry, then you want to get into network of all the food industry people and so on. Contribute there, write an article. If you can, put a video as well. If you're new and if you're camera shy and so on, you have to start putting your thoughts first. And when people encourage, please allow yourself to encourage further by giving them more of your genuine opinions and your thoughts, referrals, and so on. When people find you resourceful, people find that you're credible, everything start from there. I think the first few months, you should not be selling any of your products. That's the biggest tips, because people, uh, you always must know that apart from you, there's thousands of people in the network. They'll be doing the same, right? you
Yes.
should you should be a reference point where they should come to you for information, right? For example, if you're an insurance agent, right, there are many other insurance agents in the network as well, right? You have to show to them that you're adding value to them in terms of reliability, in terms of your thoughts, and so on. Then people will come to you.
Consistency.
Yeah.
Yes. So,
Otherwise, you cannot just sell a third-party product just like that. Yeah.
yeah. So you're talking about making sure that you're posting, writing about the things that are within your subject matter
Yes.
experience and your expertise. You're talking about engaging with the network. So a lot of this is all about the digital aspects, but how about can you share a little bit about the face-to-face? I know in COVID times that we've focused far more on the digital, but prior to that, how did you build the face-to-face network, so to speak?
Um, Rowena, you actually focused in something which is important.
Mm,
I don't believe in this um, online kind of meetings. I don't know why, because I can't channel my energy to them,
mm,
right? I look like a pre-recorded robot who's talking to somebody and so on. But we have no option, right? Even today, we
yes.
have to record ourselves through online and so on. I believe that meeting people is important. All right. Let's find avenues during this post-COVID and all that, how to do that, right? But prior to COVID, what I used to do is that I make sure that I don't meet people simply for leisure. All right.
Okay.
Because if it's someone new, I think someone new into your network, we shouldn't be wasting their time without knowing what is their constraints and so on. We have to be very clear in our purpose and the time given to us to meet them. All right. You have to be punctual, of course, and then you have to concisely tell them that you want to meet them for an hour. And when during your meet, you shouldn't be doing any hard sell.
Mm,
You shouldn't be giving them a brochure and say that, hey, I'm selling this and so on. Meet them and first acknowledge their strength and their achievements, all right, and give them your opinion how they can achieve more. When you channel out your good thoughts, your genuine opinions to them, you can feel the vibes. You can they I mean, not to portraying that you're genuine, they will understand your intention of being reliable and all. Sell yourself. Go out there, sell yourself, and tell the truth. If you're unable to speak concisely and you cannot converse to them properly, tell them that the language that you can speak to them and that you are comfortable with and so on. Then when you leave the meeting, please send them a text to thank them for the time they've taken, right? Though they
mm,
are not your target market, they are not someone that you want to do business in next couple of months or year. Thank them for the time and always keep in touch. Get to know their personal preferences and their vibes and their moving style and all that really matters. I think we human, we have this ability to observe and to study people, and do not engage in a conversation which both of you have differences. you know Try to find some mutual point.
mutual ground.
You have to create that vibe, and you shouldn't be dragging the meeting. When you have like a meeting for an hour, you should understand that they are constrained as well, and always watch for uh, their movement,
Body
their
language.
gestures and so on. Yeah, body language. uh, if you if they find you uncomfortable, always ask them, and try to cut the meeting short, and try to catch up with them some other time, and all that. But it's okay for you to wait, but do not make others wait. This is how you build your network and so on. Yeah.
So, in terms of the criteria for, especially with somebody like yourself who has built up the business and is, very successful, you would probably have a lot of people wanting to meet you. How do you make decisions about who you should meet and who you feel we should have another email or a phone call first? And how do you navigate that so that they don't take offense or
It's a tough question. I get this kind of requests almost every day. But how do I do that? It's simple. I reply to everyone's message. Everybody who sends me a message, I reply to them. Not on the same day, I try to reply on the next day and apologize. No matter who is it, I will apologize. And I will always tell them to give me, if I don't find that important for me to attend to it, I will ask them to give me their agendas, that, and I'll try to solve it by delegating that work. And I'll make sure that those who are representing me in my office, or any other friends or whatever, they should be giving me a feedback on that, right?
okay.
So I will get back to them and say that I hope your methods is solved. If you still need my help, please let me know. So this is people who are seeking assistance. People who are seeking for a meeting, I always ask them that, can you please let me know about yourself and also about your company and so on. Simply being reason so that I can understand better before meeting you, so I can have some idea why am I meeting you and how can I save your time. I put it to them in a very polite manner, but I don't ignore messages. I think that's the first thing. No matter whoever is it, you should be replying everybody, and you should be acknowledging their thoughts. They are new. If they're new into networking or trying to get to know you, educate them. Tell them that you shouldn't be doing this, you should be doing that. Assist them. I
Yeah.
get a lot of college students wanting to meet me to get some ideas and so on. All right. I would say, yes, I would love to help you, but tell me what are the areas that you're looking at and how can I help? And I'll correct them. I say, don't take offense, but I would like to help you on this. Those who are trying to sell to me something, I will always be honest and tell them that, look, I have this, but I can always refer you to someone if you think that your product, but tell me more about your product. Sometimes this ends there, but sometimes they
Yeah.
go further, right?
Okay.
But that is the way that mostly I delegate,
Delegate.
and I ensure that they get what they want. Yeah.
Okay. Um, how do you decide on the key criteria for who should be part of your network? How do you make decisions about who you want to connect with?
Uh, First, I want to see whether they are in my line of work, the network that I want. Like, for instance, I would like to connect to someone who are education related, right? But sad to say, education is like you can cut across almost all the sectors. Every sectors there's some reskilling and upskilling elements are there.
Yep.
So I'll be needed there as well. So basically, what I will do is, um, the key criteria is that I will see whether they share the same uh, philosophy, like on certain things, right? For instance, if I'm a strong advocate in TVET, all right, my first priority will be I'll get this network of TVET people around me to
Yep.
share experience and all that. If someone opposed to TVET, they feel that academics is priority, I also get to know them, but they will not be my priority and so on. But
Okay.
I will accept differences and I move on. But to tell you the truth, I don't actually set a criteria as such. I will
Okay.
see how are their communication, their line of communication, how are they approaching and so on. If I see that there's certain vibes and certain things I can learn from them, immediately I add them in my network. And if I see that genuinely they need some help, I also add them in my network. But I also got to check their background and so on. If, say, for instance, they are in this company for so long, and if they have been hopping companies and for some time, then I find that this network will not be useful to my network, because it
Okay.
just hopping, you see, right?
Yes.
And it's just something that very ad hoc. So I want someone, I will always network someone who has been there for a long time, and they have some information to share to my network as well. Yeah.
So you'll be examining their profile, say their LinkedIn profile. You'll be looking a little bit at their activities as well to see whether
Activities, I
there's
see
sort
how
of,
they communicate with others
yeah,
and so on, right?
engagement.
Yeah,
Okay.
engagement.
So let's just look at the practicalities of, your outreach efforts, okay? On a day-to-day basis or a weekly basis, what are the things that you're doing consistently in terms of your outreach?
Okay, my outreach, I make sure that those who have achieved something and put their thoughts genuinely in LinkedIn, or any other social media platform, I actually comment and congratulate them, or give my thoughts to how they can expand their thoughts and so on. All right. When it
Okay.
comes to face to face, or when it comes to someone who are not in the social media and so on, if I see them an achievement, and I see that they appeared in some papers or some blogs and all that, I take the phone and I congratulate them, and I say that I think I will tell them how to move further, give them a lot of encouragement and all that. I do this on 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 a daily basis and all that, and I don't approach people just absurd like that, and I will make sure that I greet them and I treat them with respect, though it's text message, though they call it a short message, and WhatsApp is supposed to be informal, but I make sure that I approach them formally. I greet them, I learn to apologize, and I don't simply send them some spam good morning messages and and so
Oh,
on. We should
yeah.
be doing that because I should respect their priorities and so on. But I do this on daily basis. Yeah.
Okay. And do you also, on a daily basis or maybe weekly, go into your LinkedIn and try and figure out new people that you should reach out to as well?
I used to do that before, but
Mm-hmm.
now I'm busy accepting people who are approaching me.
So you're getting far
But
more incoming.
yeah, at early stage, I used to look out for people. I used to look for certain profile. I think this social media, they have the search functions where you can
Yes.
look for someone who are connected to your industry and so on. But now, due to my engagements and so on, previously I've done that. I think most of them will come to that stage where people start adding
Yes.
you. So I'm busy accepting them instead of me adding people. So I think that has become more now, adding someone adding
So
me.
I would hazard a guess then that the quality of the people, the connection and the relevance is all good and therefore higher rate of acceptance then.
Now has become better, right? Now as people who are very much related to my industry and
Okay.
something that I want to build network. Previously, no, I get a lot of messages here and there, and requests and so on,
It
which,
seemed haphazard before.
yeah, sadly I have to decline them, because
Mm-hmm.
by accepting them, actually you are also spending more time with their requests rather than your other
Yes.
professional work. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about your profile, we've talked about your network. Now I want to really get into your body of work, your portfolio. So, what do you consider to be your unique strengths, your areas of expertise then? I know
You
you've
see,
covered some of it already in the earlier part of the call, but this is an opportunity to talk a little bit more about it.
I'm into digital transformation when
Mm-hmm.
it comes to talent. I feel that digital transformation is both technology and management challenge, right?
Okay.
Whereby new digital relationships are much more than new sales opportunities. People think that they embark on digital transformation so they get sales opportunities. I feel that the new digital customer engagement, physical and virtual, of the greatest value when sale is not the sole focus,
Mm-hmm.
right? So this is where I'm advocating right now for the industries and so on. we are very much trapped into the IR4 bubble, whereby we bring in a lot of competency to companies and say that by your team having this competency, actually you can achieve more in the industry in terms of sales and revenue. Whereas my belief would be to increase the customer lifetime values, one that contributes to your top line growth and bottom line efficiencies. Take the time truly to understand your customers and your organization in the new digital context. So having said that, digital transformation itself shouldn't be focusing on only building the processes and so on. It should be enabling people. So what I'm doing at the moment is, in my line of work, I'm trying to understand the customer journey, customer experience. That means that's the first level of digital transformation process, whereby I'm busy with building more tools to understand the customer journey, customer experience. From there, I'm working out a pathway, which is I'm already there, to enable technologies where only when required. It not for I don't dump in technology competencies to industries just like that, but only when it requires and where the area that I need to look into. So people is my biggest concern when it comes to digital transformation and so on. So this is what I've been doing, bringing TVET into the IR 4.0 and the relevance of digital competencies or the IR4 competencies is based on the people agenda itself. If you don't have the team to drive it, then no matter how much you spend for your organization, millions of money that you spend on skill, competency, or equipment, you cannot get things moving, right? And this has been imminent, especially when the COVID era, right, whereby understanding how people engage through online medium and the skill competencies through by remotely working is also far more important when we implement certain skill sets, right? So I'm more into trying to understand people and connect them to various digital competencies. Yeah.
Okay, so in the first part of the conversation, we talked a bit about how you started the organization and some of the hands-on learning and teaching that you did. So can you share a little bit, maybe expand on that point about how you discovered your strengths?
Okay. As I mentioned earlier, the how do I discover my strength is simply because I jump into it. You see, I believe in this philosophy. When there's an opportunity, you just grab, and then you find ways to do it.
Then you find a
Some
way.
have different ways of doing it. What they will do is they prepare themselves, and then they attempt certain goals and so on. But for me, I will grab the opportunity first, then I learn how to do it. Right. So I actually got to know my strength when I was put into great pressure when it comes to delivery, right? Whereby when if you think that you're junior in something, right, then you have this block whereby mental block whereby you always limit your capabilities and so on.
Correct.
You always think that no, you're a junior. No, I don't see things like that. I equally compete with the big boys and I jump into it. And I always believe that I have the last mile to go to until I declare myself that I failed, right? Or I would say delayed success. So I discovered my strength when I managed to convince people, when I see people and people believe in what I'm trying to convey to them. When I'm being genuine to them and I take responsibility, I think that is my strength, that I can vouch for my competencies and for my business, right? Most of the time, the business is the brand is me, right? And I always tell my team members that it is not about the company that we are driving, it's about you. People give business just because they have the trust on you. So that is my biggest strength, that I can keep up to people's trust and I can deliver. And I can also be apologetic when I cannot deliver something. I be truthful and I take responsibility of it. You must accept your defeat, right? Yes.
Okay. What are some of the things that you have been doing to build on these strengths?
Of course, books is my biggest tools. I read best practices,
Mm-hmm.
and I get to, I try to read books concerning leaderships and so on. I think leadership is something that over time that you'll master the competency of being a leader and so on. You have to be put into scenarios for you to be a good leader. All right. So how do I master this, or how do I work on my strengths, or uh, towards betterment? I understand different tools used in the market. I speak to mentors. I speak to people who are successful. You see, normally the successful people, they are very calm people. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they've already achieved the pinnacle. They've already there, and so they know the path, that where you will fall and where you shouldn't be going into. So I would like to take up that role. And when I start mentoring different people around me, genuinely, I also believe in upgrading myself and learning that I've actually walked different paths, and various paths. Sorry, then I can also correct the others. So it's more like giving and taking.
Mm.
Give and take. Kind of thing. So from there, I learned a lot. Yeah.
Okay. Can you share with us maybe one or two, maybe a story, a stumbling block, a misstep, any kind of failure that you can maybe shed some light on that people might be able to get a lesson from?
Yeah, this happened maybe a couple of years ago. Truly my mistake. I believe that proposals that you send to companies are pretty much standard.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You have templates of proposals that you send to companies, and if you and people always believe in automating something. So I have my team members were trying to approach they were trying to pitch for a training project. All right, so they took a standard proposal, all right, without knowing what the company wants, all right, just because there's an inquiry through, without going in detail. So they have put the standard literature into the proposal, and we actually took things very lightly and sent the proposal over. Right? For example, you are sending something to do with agriculture to a manufacturing industry. So this CEO of that company was kind enough to call up my organization, and then he said he wants to speak to me. So when he spoke to me, he asked me whether you have actually sent us a proposal. Have you read it before you send it? And I was pretty much confident that I said yes. I have all my team backing. I think I've given the best proposal. Instead of me focusing on what he's trying to say, I keep saying that I have sent you a best proposal. I have a winning proposal and all that. He says that, well, about winning or losing is secondary. You're not even in the game yet. Then I realized that we have sent actually a totally different proposal to a different industry. From there onwards, what I learned is that every single thing that you do, you must do like from the day one. All right,
Mm.
you shouldn't be complacent when you're sending a proposal. Every single customer is important for you. You have to plan it, you have to detail it, and you have to send you have to pitch for it, and you have to find them important. Otherwise, your confidence level sometimes kills you,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because you're too complacent. You think you can win over anything and everything. But how do I make up to the company? I actually uh, revised the proposal, all right, and I got into the game, and I delivered for them a complimentary training program instead of me charging them anything. And that proves to them, that actually gave them a limelight that I'm genuine in what I'm doing. And I said, in the future, I rather give it to my competitor, because he was competent enough to see into his program, to his proposal in detail. I was not. The reason I'm giving you a complimentary program to tell you that I can deliver to, but I don't want to take up this deal. I'd rather give it to my competitor. So this is where you stand by principle, by
Mm-hmm.
saying that you need a lesson with you. Otherwise, if I get away with this, then that will be a strategy. saying that it's okay for you to send a wrong proposal, just send them a complimentary program and you just take up the deal. I don't do that. All right. So the lesson to be learned here is that you have to be very detailed in the line of work that you do. And number two, you have to make sure that you take responsibility. And last but not least, you have to do your work as if that you're doing it from the day one, how you started. Never forget the day one. So you have to be focused and you have to have the same momentum when you do certain things. So this is what I've learned. And of course, it doesn't stop there. Many other mishaps
Many other, yeah.
happened. Yeah, you can never learn if you don't come to this kind of situations. So I've learned a lot, and I always tell my team members that I think I have failed more than all of y'all, and I don't want y'all to fail. And it's okay for me to fail, but I don't want to see a failure in your face and coming and seeing me. That makes me sad because I've gone through the path. So I'm supposed to educate you. So I said that I've failed many times. So failure is not new for me. So, but the important part is you need to learn from the failure.
Yes, yes, yes. So how are you building up on this body of work that you've got, and how are you shining a light on it?
Well, I make sure that uh, I learn the best practices
Mm-hmm.
in my line of work, and I understand that your business is not a business anymore if you're not solving somebody's problem.
Mm-hmm.
You are just a catalog of products if you're not solving some
Good
problem. So I
point.
make
Yeah.
sure that I always go into understanding the customer's journey and I add value to them instead of looking into the pricing and so on. I always find ways to add value.
Okay.
I learned this from actually from a story that I like to put it across here. If you heard about the seat belt, right? Volvo is the first company to invent the seat belt, a 3-point seat belt, and they decided to give out. They decided not to patent it. They decided to give out free to all the car companies out there. Why? Because they find it important to add value to all the drivers because they find that market is big. All right. By doing that, you can see the value system they've added and how reliable they are, and they have also holding the market share out there, right? By every single car that you see out there, the seat belts were invented by Volvo. So I have the same motivation. If I want to add value to the education industry, if I want to have put some best practices, I would like to make sure that I give it out for free, because you must come to that level when you are matured in your business. That when you have that business level, then you need to make sure that you contribute back, right? Apart from money and dollars and cents. This is what we were doing during COVID. We open up all our e-learning platforms for free, without any catch. We allow people to upskill and reskill themselves because we have
Excellent.
confidence through our products and they
Yep.
are happy with it. So these are the areas that I'm working on. So in short, you have to always researching on the pain points and problem statements and keep adding value to your business, because
Okay.
you already have the momentum. So the money will flow anyhow, but why not you just add value to your clients? Is more than that. Yeah.
So you've shared quite a number of tips for people who are, considering doing this. Is there any other final tip in terms of somebody who is busy building their body of work and you want to make sure that they get the process right? Is there anything else that you can add there?
Okay, I will always say that when you're busy with your work, that means you have good revenue coming in too. I believe so. So that means you also gonna open up for avenues of investment and diversification. All right. I would say that you should focus in your vertical, all right, first before you go into other verticals.
Mm-hmm.
You have to master your vertical. You can expand vertically, but you cannot do it horizontally at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because you must have an area of focus before you expand. You have to see the best, or you have to see the pinnacle in your industry. Then you should go into other area, because when you come to a certain stage in life, when it comes to business, I think the business needs focus more than the investment. All right, you can invest how much that you want in other businesses, but if you don't focus, you don't have the competencies to allow the business to grow, then it's a failure. It gives you stress. So
Yeah.
those who are being busy, you have to build your network, yes, but not to diversify or to invest straight away. You have to build a network to learn the best practices. Build your own vertical first and focus in the area of work. Then you build more people. you know
Okay.
right? And that
Great.
is that I can give you. Yeah.
Thank you. All right. So we're coming to the end, and I just have three very quick questions to ask before
Yeah.
we finish up. Two habits that you consider essential to your ongoing success?
Habits. Reading habits is a must,
Mm-hmm.
right? I know that most of us have access to Amazon Prime, Netflix, and so on, and the serials can go on and on for hours, right? I would say that discipline yourself. Make sure you do in at least 1 hour of reading before you sleep. That gives you a lot of different perspectives. It's just like you would not know about a country until you travel to the country, right? You can have the very various perceptions. Same goes to knowledge. You have to indulge into knowledge, and that's about it. Second habit is that yes, work-life balance is there, but work-life balance shouldn't be an excuse for you not to put effort in your work,
Mm-hmm.
right? Once you reach a certain level, you can delegate work, then work-life balance. So the habit number two is that always make sure that you get your momentum going, because if you don't answer the calls, somebody else will. If
Somebody
you
else.
don't attend to your client, somebody else will. So make sure that you're always focused, keep the momentum. You are not successful until you manage to add value to many other people in your industry. Yeah,
Okay.
that's the two habits that I always practice and I would like to convey to people as well.
Great. What has been instrumental in helping you overcome fear?
I have to face fear. That's the thing. Is fear instrumental, meaning my driving factor, my passion towards what I want to achieve. So I would say that when it comes to fear, it's more of a personal thing. You have to attempt, you have to try, you have to find ways to break the fear,
Mm-hmm.
right? So just face it.
Face
Nothing
it.
will happen, right?
Okay. And the last question is, what has enabled you to play the long game?
Play what? Sorry?
Play the long game, go the
Uh,
distance.
okay. It's more like I would say I always feel that I have more driving factor inside of me, a burning fire,
Mm-hmm.
and it's only getting more. It's getting more hotter. I would say more very very pushy towards me. So I have that thing. I think that gives me the long game. And when you always want to be on top of the game, and when you have a lot of things happening around you, you see, always compare yourself with the big boys. People are talking about sending uh, people from the earth to Mars, and Elon Musk is like working on it every day, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Yep.
And here we are selling something which is very common, So those big things always makes me play the long game. I should be the pinnacle in my industry. We're going to live once.
Yes.
Better do it right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, Sri Ganesh,
Yeah.
pioneer in the TVET space, who has built the SG Education Group since 1999. Thank you so much for coming on the show and talking to us about all the things that you've been working on. Wishing you all the best as you move forward. And where can people find you online?
You can always go to my LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
Just type in my name, Sri Ganesh, SRI space GNES. I think you can find me there, right? I'm
Excellent.
always, yeah, yeah. I always
Okay,
love to
cool.
talk to people, right?
Thank you so much for coming on the show.
I appreciate that. Thanks for having me here. Right.